2007, a woman named Leila Al-Hammadi moved to a small town in northern Tunisia called Bir al-Atiya. It was a quiet village of just 3,000 people. The locals were warm and kind, but there was one street they never talked about, Al-Mansiya Street. Leila had inherited an old, forgotten house on that very street from her late uncle. She knew little about it, only that it had been locked for over 20 years. When she arrived, the place was smothered in dust, its windows shattered, the air thick and stale. It wasn't fear that hit her, but a heavy, strange silence. On the third day, things took a turn. Each morning, Leila found a neatly folded note on her doorstep. No envelope, no explanation. Day 1, you shouldn't have come back. Day 2, the house doesn't like strangers. Day 3, please, don't open the downstairs room. At first, she thought it was a joke, but then she noticed the handwriting was different each time, like multiple people were sending them, and yet, no one was ever seen delivering them. At the far end of the house, a small wooden door, chained and rusted, sat untouched, but after hearing strange sounds from below, crying, scratching, whispers that said her name, Leila decided to open it. She called a local carpenter to help, but when she returned an hour later, the door was already open. Inside was a cold, damp cellar, covered in writings, some in Arabic, some in unknown languages, and on a small table in the middle, a pile of letters, all addressed to her. Even more disturbing, some were dated before her birth, others far into the future. Each letter described her life in incredible detail, secrets, childhood events, dreams, and some predicted what would happen next. Terrified, she sought answers from Sheikh Mubarak, the elderly imam in town. When she told him about the house, he paused and said, "That house doesn't belong to your uncle. It belongs to the letters. Many lived there before. Each received messages, and many never came out." To be continued. The deeper Leila dug into the mystery, the more disturbing things became. She began seeing figures moving inside the house, disappearing behind walls. At night, she'd wake up to the sound of an old typewriter clicking in the cellar, and every time she checked, there were new letters waiting. Letters that spoke of things that hadn't happened yet. She tried to run, packed her things, got in her car, and drove away. But no matter which direction she took, she always ended up back on Al-Mansiya Street. One night, a final message arrived. When the room is opened, time closes. There is no exit anymore. In a final act of desperation, Leila returned to the cellar. On the table, she found a photograph of herself, faded, yellowed, from another era. On the back, a date, July 7th, 1973. 10 years before she was even born. The next morning, Leila vanished. Her flashlight was still there. The door was open, but she was gone. Years later, in 2022, authorities attempted to demolish the house after endless complaints about screams, noises, and ghostly figures. But every crew fled in fear. Some suffered hallucinations. Others began writing strange letters in languages they didn't know. To this day, the house still stands, empty, abandoned,